Hey everybody, Edo here, and as has become quite a tradition here at Pencil First Games, this is the 2022 Recap 2023 preview of what we're doing, and actually, the end of 2021, we released Floriferous, and that was pretty late in the year, so there was a little bit of a gap at the start of this year with, Floriferous moving into the marketplace, which is fantastic. But it wasn't until mid-year that we released Delicious, the trio, the third game in this lineup, and actually we also created this pretty darn nifty retail display, and Sunset Over Water Pocket Edition as a complement to Herbaceous Pocket Edition. And if you have been following along to sort of the business workings, we actually didn't do a Kickstarter for these titles. These are the first games ever that Pencil First went direct to retail. Well, actually, you can only get Sunset Over Water Pocket Edition from our website, but Delicious you can find at retail and at Amazon and all that stuff right now. That in and of itself was an interesting experience. The jury's out on whether we're going to do it again or drive into Kickstarter. One of the things that we lost was a little bit of the awareness, the pre-sale that happens when you have a Kickstarter and everyone sort of gets it at the same time. And so you may not be familiar with Delicious, but this is a fantastic flip and write that you should check out if you haven't heard of it. Also, some international support was a little bit more challenging. That's something that's easier through Kickstarter. So it was an interesting experiment, and I don't know, still figuring it out. So these two titles came out, and actually, also, if you didn't pick up Sunset Over Water, or you haven't picked up Herbaceous, or you're looking for what would be a fantastic small present, or presents, we have a sale up on our Pencil First Games, shop.pencilfirstgames.com, which has a 25% discount on these two together, and then also like our holiday sales, you can get $5 off any couple games put together, so that's a great way to get free mini expansion or something like that with an order. So that's actually live now. But so these titles came out into the market this year, and actually this is really all of the product we released this year. The other things we did this year, though, and I'm going to be moving these aside as I go here, is we had a couple big Kickstarters, so one of which was for Maul Peak. So, Maul Peak, if you're not familiar, is the standalone expansion to Skull Hollow. Skull Hollow is one of our most popular games, fantastic. Did this work with Keith Mateka and Dustin Faust, the artist, and now we have Maul Peak. Foxen versus Guardians, Bears versus Guardians. You can play them together, you can mix and match. It's super, super cool. And with each of these, so the original had this mini expansion, this one has this mini expansion, then we also did the Runes and Ruins solo experience. And this is a neat little solo adventure game that's a little like scratch off, choose your own adventure type of experience with a lot of narrative, and then it results in a little thing that you can, it's different based on how you played, but that you can use with these games. So these are actually the final print samples because these are on boats. So this is moving along, and you can go to the respective Kickstarter pages to get like really specifics. So there was this. The other campaign we did was the expansion. Now it's not standalone, you still need the base game, but this is the expansion to the fantastic 100 Torii with Scott Caputo, art by Vincent Dutrait, and this is Diverging Paths. Also, like we did with the original, this had the Toku mini expansion in Koi, and this one has matcha and sake. So these also are final print samples, and you know that you review for the final okay. And these as well are on boats. Check out the Kickstarter page for details. Lastly, as part of this campaign, we also made this Deluxe Hanafuda deck. If you're not familiar with Hanafuda, it's this traditional Japanese card game, sort of like card deck with a lot of different variants. And this was this awesome version we did with just absolutely stunning art and components with, let's see if I can get to the cards here, with Vincent. So these are just amazing and really happy with how everything came out. And even cool thing we did, Bruno Cathala is like a super fan of Hanafuda. and he worked with us and did a solo version. So I'm very excited about this. This was a real pleasure, almost like an art history project done with a lot of incredible folks. So this is also on a boat. That last is going to be just available from Pencil First Games, as well as this will only be, and the mini expansions. The larger boxes will be available at retail and on Amazon, that kind of thing. So those are really the big developments over the course of the year. There have been a few other things as well. For one, you might notice I'm wearing this Skull Hollow shirt. Super cool. We also have, or it's not we, the Meeps, has this Herbaceous shirt. So we've partnered with the Meeps to create some really cool shirts. And these are available from the Meeps.co. I'll link it in the description if you want a cool Pencil First Games shirt. And we have these two designs, Herbaceous and Skull Hollow. Depending on how things go, we might do another. So, you know, lots of cool things. We just had Celebration Day, which is Pencil First Games has a once-a-year celebration where we play games with the community. It's part of the Pencil First Games Facebook community page, which you should certainly, if you're watching this, join. But one of the neat things is we announced the shirt and did like an AMA and that kind of thing. Me, Anna Maria, Jessica were playing Delicious, and there was like a play along and that kind of thing. But the other thing we released, which I don't really have a copy of here, is we created a garden party herbaceous rule. So rule set to support 5 to 6 players, 5 to 8 players when you're playing herbaceous. And that does require 2 copies, but it could be a small copy and a big copy. You can mix and match, but 2 copies, and there's a rule set for that, which is a lot of fun if you have a lot of people. And the other, though, is in Floriferous and Delicious, we introduced the pesky friend, the crow, and we added a mode where you can bring the crow into herbaceous, or just use a token, and play with in multiplayer and solo. It's cool. It brings a lot of new complexity, and which Herbaceous is a super simple game, but it adds more to it, especially for folks who've played it a lot of times. You can download both of those rule sets from BGG or we have a web link. Again, I'll link it in the description. But that's just a great way to get some more life out of Herbaceous. Perhaps if we end up doing another print, they'll find their way into the box. But for now, you just download it or read it and have fun. They're pretty straightforward. And but we did do a nice layout with them as if they would get printed one day. Okay, so I'm trying to think. That covers what we released this year and the Kickstarters for this year. And so those titles that I mentioned that did Kickstarters, Maul will go first. We got to do backer fulfillment, but it's probably like a March Maul, April Torii, or April May, or May June. Like they're about a month apart, and it's just going to come down to how we get through the fulfillment process, boats landing, all those things. I don't want to commit to anything. Read the backer updates for your information. So let's talk about 2023. So it's interesting. Right now, we have been looking hard at sort of crowdfunding, direct to retail, and sort of the velocity and rate in which we're releasing products, and trying to find the right cadence and balance to it all. And it's this is like a small indie boutique publisher, and our capacity is important. A lot of other things going on in life, so we got to figure it out. And at this point, the honest truth is we haven't figured it out yet. We don't know exactly when we're going to do things. So, but what's on the horizon? So, one, this was announced at some point, but this is Floriferous Pocket Edition. This is an early version. We will be doing this. I don't know exactly when. Certainly not. This isn't earliest. If I'm talking about a 2023 that hasn't had a Kickstarter yet, like those are the 2022 products that release in 2023. At best, some of the things that I'm talking about would Kickstarter during the year and then maybe hit retail towards the end of the year, but more likely the next. So there's definitely some time. So that's Floriferous Pocket Edition, continuing to build up that line. That's exciting. Another title that we've talked about that was actually supposed to kickstart this year was the Siblings Trouble Deluxe Expanded Deluxe Edition. And that's in line with Liftoff Expanded Deluxe Edition, where we're going to some of these old classic Pencil First Games titles, adding new content, refreshing it, and bringing it back to market. In this case, new locations, new kids. The Siblings Trouble, you play as a bunch of kids going on. It's like the Goonies or Scooby-Doo or something like that. And probably more Goonies. And and we introduced a Destiny character who sort of acts as a game master. The original version, it was a card-driven game. And this one is the same, but we've added another mode if somebody wants to take a little bit more of a ownership role of guiding the game through play. And just a bunch of extended adventures and a whole bunch of stuff. That was actually supposed to Kickstarter in October, and we ended up pushing it. Things have just been busy, and we're trying to get the right balance. So for sure, the Siblings Trouble Expanded Deluxe Edition will kickstart in 2023, but I don't even know if it's going to be the next one. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what we're trying to work out. So we talked about Floriferous Pocket Edition. We've talked about the Siblings Trouble Expanded Deluxe Edition. The next titles I'm going to mention, we're not at the point yet where we've released information on them. And I'm trying to, I don't like getting a bunch of information out too early when we don't have like a rollout plan. When we have the rollout plan, I think it makes a lot of sense. But right now, we're still doing that planning over the next few months. And so one game is another title with Steve Finn. This is it's fantastic. I'm super excited about it. It looks gorgeous. We're actually right now deciding exact box size, which is another reason. But that could be, if everything moves smoothly there, our next Kickstarter. Maybe not, but that one's coming along, and I'm looking forward to sharing more information about it. Super excited. The next game is a game that we're working on with Roberta Taylor. Roberta designed Creature Comforts, amongst other things. And it's super awesome. Super excited about it. And it looks gorgeous. Looks gorgeous. So that's number 2. Number 3 is working with Mr. Mateka and the World of Boar folks on more Skull Column OP type stuff. That's always super fun and exciting. And then lastly, 2 more. Then Scott Caputo, who designed the 100 Torii, is working again on actually a small box little experience with me, which is something that'll be a blast, but small. And that might end up going direct to retail, might get comboed with Floriferous Pocket Edition. I gotta figure it all out. There's no right answer. And then lastly, a pretty big game with Andy Ashcraft, who actually worked on the Siblings Trouble with me a long time ago, as well as Vincent Dutrait, who we're super excited about. So tons of cool stuff happening. Pacing is really important because this is a nights and weekends thing, right? And we have to we want to maintain that Pencil First Games quality and depth of experience and fun and continue to move the nature brand and the adventure brand. So, lots going on as we move forward. So hopefully one of these things is exciting to you. And certainly if whether you've backed to Kickstarter, even just for watching this video and sharing it or whatever, but back to Kickstarter, bought a product, any and all of the above, we appreciate it. And hopefully you're just having a delightful time playing games. Okay, bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.